All right, strap in everyone, because today we're going deep into the world of quantum computers.
Buckle up is right.
I know this is a topic a lot of you are curious about.
Definitely. It's one of those things that feels like it's straight out of science fiction.
It does. And that's why we're doing a deep dive into this YouTube video called Why Quantum Computers Will Break Reality.
Catchy title, right.
Very catchy.
But
And while the title might be a tad dramatic, the potential of this technology is seriously mind-blowing.
no kidding.
So today, we're going to break down the basics of quantum computing, explore its potential impact, and most importantly,
Figure out why you should care.
exactly, because this stuff can get pretty complex,
It can.
but we're going to make it as clear as possible. So the video starts by explaining how quantum computers are different from the regular computers we use every day.
Right, the computers we use to check email, browse the web, all that. Those computers use bits, which are like tiny switches that can be either on or off.
Representing a 1 or a 0.
Exactly. But quantum computers use qubits. Imagine a spinning coin.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Until it lands, it's both heads and tails at the same time.
Right.
That's kind of like superposition.
Where a qubit can be both 0 and 1 simultaneously.
You got it. And this is what allows quantum computers to explore tons of possibilities at once. It's what makes them so much faster for certain tasks.
So instead of going through possibilities one by one, like our regular computers,
Quantum computers can tackle them all at the same time.
that's amazing. But how does this break reality, as the video claims?
Well, the video uses encryption as an example.
Okay, that's something we can all relate to.
Right. A lot of our digital world relies on encryption. It's what keeps your bank details safe online or prevents someone from reading your emails.
Stuff we definitely don't want people snooping around in.
Exactly. And to crack this encryption, a normal computer would take thousands of years.
Thousands.
Yeah. But a powerful enough quantum computer could potentially do it in seconds.
Seconds. That's a little unnerving.
It is. The implications are huge. Everything from financial systems to government secrets to your personal data is potentially at risk.
So is our digital world doomed?
Not necessarily. Researchers are already working on quantum-resistant encryption.
So they're staying one step ahead.
Trying to, but transitioning to those new systems will be a big challenge.
A massive undertaking for sure.
Yeah, but it's necessary.
It seems like this breaking reality thing isn't always a bad thing. The video also mentions how quantum computers could revolutionize AI.
Oh, yeah. AI is already changing the world as we know it, but imagine combining it with quantum computing power.
Wow. I can't even imagine.
Faster processing, more complex algorithms, the ability to work with massive amounts of data. It could be a game changer.
So we're talking things like self-driving cars that are actually safe,
Absolutely.
or personalized medicine
Yeah,
based on your unique genetic makeup.
exactly. We could even see breakthroughs in areas like natural language processing, where AI can understand and respond to us just like another human.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
And this is just scratching the surface, right?
Right. The possibilities are endless, and what's even more exciting is that we're starting to see real-world applications emerge.
Like with drug discovery and material science, which the video mentions.
Exactly. Quantum computers can simulate molecules with insane precision.
So scientists could design drugs that target specific proteins in the body.
Precisely. Or create new materials with properties we haven't even thought of yet.
That's mind-blowing.
Right. Think about superconductors that work at room temperature, or catalysts that make industrial processes hyper-efficient.
It's like something straight out of Star Trek.
Aha! It does feel that way sometimes. And, it's not just about the practical applications. It's also about fundamental science.
Like using quantum computers to simulate the early universe. I remember reading about that.
Exactly. Or modeling complex climate systems to understand climate change better. It's like having a new lens through which we can understand the universe itself.
This is incredible. But with all this power comes a lot of responsibility, right?
Absolutely. The video makes that point very clear.
There are ethical considerations we can't ignore.
Definitely. Any technology this powerful will have a huge impact on society, and we need to be prepared for the challenges.
Like what kind of challenges?
Well, for one, the economic impact could be massive.
Meaning?
We're talking about new industries popping up, new jobs being created.
That's good, right?
It is, but it also means that some existing jobs will become obsolete.
So people could lose their jobs.
It's a possibility, and we need to think about things like workforce training and education now to help people adapt to this shift.
Right, we need to make sure everyone benefits from this quantum revolution, not just a select few.
Exactly. And then there are the concerns about privacy and security.
We talked about the encryption thing, but are there other concerns?
Definitely. What if this technology falls into the wrong hands?
That's a scary thought. Imagine what a malicious actor could do with that kind of power.
Exactly. So we need to think about things like safeguards and regulations to prevent misuse of this technology, especially when it comes to things like AI and sensitive data.
It seems like with this technology, we're entering a whole new world with a lot of potential, but also potential dangers.
That's a good way to put it. It's a world full of both promise and peril.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
Uh-huh.
I think we need a moment to process all of this before we go any further.
Welcome back, everyone.
Okay, I don't know about you, but my head is still spinning from all that we talked about in the first part of our deep dive. Quantum computers are seriously next level.
No doubt about it. It's like we've stepped into the future.
Right. We talked about how quantum computers could crack encryption in seconds.
It's a bit unnerving when you think about it.
It is. But then on the flip side, we talked about how this technology could revolutionize things like medicine and material science, which is super exciting.
Absolutely. And the video we're discussing does a great job of highlighting some of the incredible possibilities. One example that really stood out to me was how quantum computers could be used to simulate molecules with incredible precision.
Oh, yeah. Like being able to design drugs that target specific proteins in the body to cure diseases.
Exactly. Or think about being able to create a room temperature superconductor.
I've read about those. They could revolutionize energy transmission.
Exactly. No more energy loss during transmission.
That would be incredible.
Or think about catalysts that could make industrial processes way more efficient.
That all sounds so futuristic.
It does, doesn't it? But what's really exciting is that it's not just theory anymore. We're actually starting to see real-world applications emerge. The video even mentioned a partnership between Pfizer and a quantum computing company called Rigetti.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to use quantum computing to speed up drug discovery and development.
Exactly. Which could lead to new treatments and cures for all sorts of diseases.
That's amazing.
It is, but as with any powerful technology, there are also some big ethical questions we need to consider.
Right. It's not all sunshine and roses.
It's not. The video touched on some key areas that we need to be thinking about, and one that really resonated with me was the potential economic impact of this technology.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, we're already seeing automation displacing jobs in various industries. What happens when quantum computing enters the picture?
It's a valid concern. Some experts believe that quantum computing will lead to the creation of entirely new industries and jobs.
Which is a good thing.
Absolutely. But it's also likely to lead to the displacement of existing jobs, and that's something we need to prepare for.
So we need to be thinking about things like retraining programs in education to help people adapt to this changing landscape.
Exactly. We need to start planning now to ensure that everyone benefits from this quantum revolution and that no one gets left behind.
Makes sense. And then, of course, there are also the security and privacy implications that we touched on earlier. I mean, if quantum computers can break our current encryption methods, what's to stop someone from using that power for nefarious purposes?
That's a very real concern. We need to start thinking about developing more robust safeguards and regulations to prevent the misuse of this technology.
Especially when it comes to things like AI and sensitive data.
Exactly. Imagine the potential consequences if quantum-powered AI fell into the wrong hands. It could be used for things like surveillance, manipulation, or even the development of autonomous weapon systems.
Okay, now that is a scary thought.
It is. And it highlights the fact that we need to be extremely careful and thoughtful about how we develop and deploy this technology. It's not something to be taken lightly.
Definitely not. It's clear that we need to have some serious conversations about the ethical implications of quantum computing, along with the potential economic and social impacts.
I agree. It's like we're standing on the edge of a new frontier, and we need to be prepared for what lies ahead. We can't just focus on the wow factor of this technology. We need to be aware of the potential downsides as well and work to mitigate those risks.
It's like a double-edged sword, right? This technology has the potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems, but it could also create new ones if we're not careful.
Exactly. It's both exhilarating and daunting at the same time.
I'm getting the feeling that this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the implications of quantum computing. I mean, we haven't even touched on the philosophical questions that this technology raises.
Oh, yeah. Like the question whether or not we're living in a simulation.
That's one that always blows my mind. If a quantum computer can simulate the universe so accurately, does that mean our reality is just another simulation?
It's a question that philosophers have been debating for centuries, and quantum computing definitely adds a whole new layer of complexity to that debate.
Okay, now I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think we could be living in a simulation?
I'm not sure if I have a definitive answer to that question. It's certainly a mind-boggling concept, and it raises all sorts of questions about the nature of reality and consciousness.
Like, what does it even mean to be real if our experiences can be perfectly simulated?
Exactly. It really challenges our fundamental assumptions about the world and our place in it.
This is getting deep, but I love it.
Me too.
Eh.
And even if we put the simulation theory aside for a moment, there are still other philosophical implications to consider. For example, I think the way we think about knowledge and information is likely to change as quantum computing becomes more prevalent.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, right now, we tend to think of information as something that is stored and processed in a very linear fashion. But in the quantum world, information is much more fluid and interconnected. It exists in a state of superposition where multiple possibilities can exist simultaneously.
So instead of thinking of information as these fixed data points, we need to start thinking of it as a spectrum of possibilities.
Yeah. Exactly. And that shift in perspective could have a huge impact on how we conduct scientific research, how we understand the human brain, and even how we interact with the world around us.
It's almost like we're moving from a Newtonian worldview to a quantum worldview.
That's a great way to put it. Just as Newtonian physics revolutionized our understanding of the physical world, I think quantum mechanics is going to revolutionize our understanding of information, computation, and perhaps even consciousness itself.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. But it's also incredibly exciting to think about the potential implications of this technology.
It is. We're really just at the beginning of this quantum revolution, and who knows what the future holds. But one thing is for sure, it's going to be a wild ride.
I can't wait to see what discoveries and breakthroughs await us.
Me too. And I think the most important thing is to stay curious, keep asking questions, and be open to the possibilities.
Well said. I think this is a great note to end on for this part of our deep dives. Welcome back to the show. I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this quantum world.
There's so much to uncover, and it seems like with each layer we peel back, we find even more intriguing possibilities.
It's mind-boggling. And speaking of intriguing possibilities, the video we've been discussing touches on a concept that I find particularly fascinating: quantum consciousness.
Ah, yes, the intersection of quantum mechanics and consciousness. It's a topic that's sparking a lot of discussion and debate.
It's definitely a head-scratcher. The idea that consciousness itself could be connected to the quantum world is pretty wild.
It is wild, but some physicists and neuroscientists believe that those quantum processes happening in the brain, the ones we've been talking about, could actually play a role in generating consciousness.
So you're saying that instead of consciousness being solely a product of our physical brain, it could be influenced by these tiny quantum events happening at the subatomic level.
Exactly. Remember the concept of superposition, where a qubit can be in multiple states at once. Well, some scientists believe that our thoughts or even our sense of self could exist in a similar state of quantum superposition.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown. So are we talking about the possibility of having multiple consciousnesses existing at the same time? Like different versions of ourselves experiencing different realities?
That's a theory that some have explored, but it's definitely on the fringes of scientific thought. It's still highly speculative. But even if we don't go that far, the idea that quantum mechanics could somehow be intertwined with consciousness is incredibly intriguing.
It definitely makes you rethink what it means to exist, doesn't it? But how could we even begin to test these ideas? I mean, studying consciousness is hard enough as it is. How do you connect that to the quantum world?
It's a huge challenge, but researchers are coming up with new techniques and models to explore these questions. Some are looking into whether quantum entanglement, that spooky action at a distance, could be involved in communication between neurons in the brain.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. It feels like we're on the verge of a whole new understanding of what it means to be human.
And as we develop more powerful quantum computers, we might even be able to simulate conscious processes, which could have profound implications for how we understand the mind, the nature of reality, everything.
It seems like with every step we take in quantum computing, we uncover even more mysteries.
That's the beauty of it. And it's not just about the answers, it's about the questions that these discoveries provoke.
It really does make you question everything you thought you knew about the world. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of quantum computing, I think the main takeaway is that this is about so much more than just building faster computers.
You couldn't agree more. It's about exploring the very essence of reality, of information, and maybe even consciousness itself.
It's been an incredible journey exploring this topic with you. I hope our listeners are leaving with a sense of awe and maybe a little bit of existential confusion. In a good way, of course.
A healthy dose of wonder is always a good thing. To our listeners, keep those minds open and stay curious about the quantum future. The possibilities are truly endless.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the quantum realm.